All right, good morning. We are here today to talk about the analysis of China procurement for the WSU Tanner Company. I'm Tabby Webb.
I'm Casey Palmer.
I'm Beth Johnson.
Or Chad Johnny.
And we are Eagle Point Logistics. So what we are is we are a 4PL provider, and we do complete supply chain solutions for the logistics of the whole company. Rather than just tackling one single function, we tackle the whole entire thing. And we tend to do this more internationally rather than domestically to really help our clients. We've recently gotten the opportunity to work with the highly credible OC Tanner Company. This company stands out from any other company because of their personalization and appreciation of not only their employees, but also all their clients. For over 90 years, they've been helping companies provide the most desirable workplace by really appreciating the employees and kind of bringing fun into a workplace to be like, hey, thanks for what you're doing, and really making their employees feel appreciated. For the past 2 years in a row, they've been named top 40 companies to work for by Foreign Magazine. And one way that they really aim to appreciate and help their companies that they're working for is that they try to buy products that really bring that wow factor. And one way that they did this is they created and they're maintaining relationships with China that really stand out from what you can get here domestically, and Casey's now going to elaborate on that.
So OC Tanner's relationship with China began over 15 years ago, starting with sourcing Bravo award boxes at an 80% cost discount. At the time, their current domestic supplier was unable to meet their needs, and they were forced to move into China. This created a large cost savings, which sparked OC Tanner's expansion of their Chinese portfolio. Their original private label brand is EPOCH, and they have been sourcing watches in China for nearly a decade. The success shown by EPOCH led OC Tanner to search for more private label brand opportunities. In 2016, they added 3 additional private label brands, which included Embu focusing on the kitchenware, Wilio focusing on electronics, and Toby focusing on outdoor recreation. To ensure the success of these 3 brands, it was important to focus on product category as well as using the most efficient supplier possible. Currently, these 3 brands are being sourced in China, which comes with both strengths and weaknesses. China, by the early 2000s, was considered the world's factory floor. They were a preferred destination due to their extremely low labor costs as well as their aspiring consumers. But due to this rapid growth of sourcing in China, it ultimately led to a rise in wage rates. Labor costs began to rise 18% annually, causing a major drawback for companies considering to source in China and considering their future sourcing options. Other risks that companies discovered were commercial risk as well as the possibility of a 45% tariff increase. After analyzing China's strengths and weaknesses, we also looked further into OC Tanner's wants and needs and other possible suppliers. And now Chad will talk a little bit about what we plan to achieve.
Having an analysis of the pros and cons in China is going to be huge. So one of the main emphasis of this case, the snapshot in a sense, is the private labels, the 3 brands that are going to be sent out within, that have been established for a year now. These private labels are going to be paramount in the success of international relations for OC Tanner, and will set a guideline for future implementation into international waters. Moving on to the case snapshot are some of the physical details of the process. We have a harmonized tariff schedule, identification number, as well as each individual SKU. Let me rephrase that. So in order to harmonize the language barrier that is provided with having to work with China and Vietnam, we have found the harmonized tariff schedule identification numbers that will help utilize a more communicable language when dealing with these foreign people that don't have the same native language as us. Along with this, we provide the tariff rates individually for each product that we are procuring, as well as we've also identified some ports, some of the physical locations of what we're doing. Moving on to the right side of the screen, our suppliers. Our suppliers were strategically chosen. We chose them near major ports. These major ports, I will discuss later, were chosen for reasons that will help us reduce costs. Now, Shenzhen, China, and Vung Tau, Vietnam are major ports that have successful international trade. Moving on to where they will arrive. They will arrive in Long Beach Port. We will take heavily advantage of the well-industrialized Ahmadiyya corridor. This corridor is established by BNSF, or BNSF operates in these railways. From there, we will travel from Long Beach to Salt Lake City in Utah. The other products will arrive at OC Tanner. Now we'll move on to some assumptions. These assumptions we have provided are key in providing a fluid solution for this case we have. To start off, OC Tanner is a big company. They have an annual net income of over $20 million, as well as an annual revenue of over $365 million. These figures were found on Hoovers.com. It is a private company, so it's not easy to find these records. Additionally, prices for Vietnam. This is a key factor in our reasoning. Vietnam is heavily reviewed as an aspiring China. Some may relate, as the popular Harvard Business Review article says, China of 10 years ago. This factor will play a key in pricing the unit costs. Roughly, China's prices in the last 10 years have risen by, some may say, 20 to 15%. For safety concerns, we use 12%. That 0.88 ratio will come in fact in lowering our unit costs. Now to move on to ocean freight, transportation. Ocean freight is going to be our optimal method. Like I said earlier, the on-time delivery and the lead time will be more guaranteed and more satisfactory using these ports we chose. Additionally, ocean freight is the cheapest, as a well-known fact. Additionally, we are not afraid to use air freight. So in the case of emergency situations such as quality issues or anything affecting our customers, or OC Tanner's customers, which we hold dearly, I mean, they're a family company, we're not afraid to expedite. We will take that expense. Now, we will move on to Beth for some strategy.
Hello everyone. So you might be wondering how we are planning to implement or achieve this objective we set forth for us. We are planning to implement the China Plus One methodology. We've looked at multiple strategies such as executive exclusively to China. We've also thought about going exclusively to a different country. However, we thought China Plus One was our best option because it utilized multiple different benefits. We were able to diversify our risk by going to 2 different countries, as well as maximize our lower cost by utilizing other countries' decreasing or lower rated wage expenses, because China is currently growing at 18% per year for their wage rate. In addition, we were able to maximize and maintain our China market, consumer market, as well as move into a new consumer market, going with the Plus One option. We selected Vietnam after analyzing 4 major countries, which are the typical ones. The 4 ones are Thailand, Indonesia, India, and Vietnam. Vietnam was the best one because of the lower rate it had and the model of being so much like China before they started expanding so rapidly. So they still have those low wage expenses, as well as a young population looking for work and eager to become rich people, much like a first world nation. Moving on to how we will implement this. We thought it was very important that we made sure we had people on the ground, such as a consulting expert, as well as a local partner, to find out how the environment was, and just make sure all of our research that we've done is accurate. Next, we would like to make sure that the contract has been finalized with the Vietnam supplier for OC Tanner before we started setting up the tooling, as well as hiring new employees. Moving on to how we would train our employees is we would bring a Chinese employee at our supplier, original supplier, and have them be experts, the top of the top, come in, train our new employees in Vietnam to help increase that learning curve so we can rapidly catch up to where China's quality is and how fast they can produce. We also thought it was important to diversify our portfolio, which we will go into next in our 3-year plan. However, continuing on, we thought it was important that we were able to track any defaults that were happening in each manufacturing company. Because if you're getting the same backpack for the Bolio portfolio, and you can't track it back to what manufacturer it's coming from, whether it's Vietnam or China or anywhere else, you are going to waste so much time trying to figure out, well, where did it come from? How can we fix it? Who has the default? And so we thought we would put VIN numbers or SKUs on each backpack, just like any other thing, any other product, but specify it whether it's coming from Vietnam or China. We also would lend our support to fix the defaults, to maintain that high level of quality. The most important step in our plan, though, is for a company to continuously improve upon the system. As you all know, technology is rapid and always advancing. Even if you have it today, by tomorrow it will be different. The 3-year action plan we have implemented for the 3 brand new brands that have only been around for a year is Mabu, our kitchenware. We are going to actually maintain that in China completely. OC Tanner has expressed their gratitude and loyalty towards China in the great experience they've had moving from their domestic supplier to their foreign supplier. So we are going to maintain that 100% in China throughout this entire process. None of it will be produced in Vietnam. Moving on to our Tobio and Bolio portfolios, we will be in our first year going 40% of all products in those lines to Vietnam. We are doing 2 things by only moving 40%. Some people might be like, why not do 60%? Our thoughts are, we're not quite sure how Vietnam's going to perform. And so we thought we would diversify the risk and maintain the majority of our portfolio and products being produced to our consumers at our high quality producing China exporter. Then, in addition to this, the US administration is considering naming China a currency manipulator. If they are labeled this, they will have a 45% tariff increase added to their imports coming into the US. This is an extreme expense. Normally they're around 14% maximum, as the harmonized tariff schedule we looked at stated. And so that is why we stick with the 40%, because if this is labeled, we will already have 40% of our products being exported from Vietnam compared to China. We can easily move that to a 60-40 ratio if that does happen, rather than having to completely build a new company in a different country to negate those costs. In year 2, if everything goes according to plan and the 2 factors we've discussed do not happen, we are going to move into 60% increase in Vietnam because their prices for labor is so much cheaper than in China. In year 3, we would move to 80% and 20%. Doing this and maintaining 2 different places of suppliers, we will be able to help with economies of scale. So going back to being a large company, we don't have to worry about economies of scale and having one supplier mass produce items. We are able to utilize diversifying our portfolio. Moving on, Chad's going to talk about the implications and hopeful results we will receive by implementing the strategy.
Right, so you're going to choose us, Eagle Point Logistics, for a reason. We're going to provide you superior results. We're going to give you good value. Moving on to some obvious cost savings. Labor is a big issue, especially worldwide. Labor is going to affect our bottom line in terms of our unit price, as a given with a lot of these Asian countries. Additionally, social welfare, family company, OC Tanner, why not spread that love around? Vietnam, they're an inspiring first world country, as mentioned earlier. They want to work, they want to be the next China, as mentioned. So social welfare, give them jobs, make them happy, let them develop, give them money by providing them our business. Dividends, take care of the original family, OC Tanner. We will continue to provide a surplus of dividends for our shareholders, which is great because, I mean, the OC Tanner is a great company. They appreciate people. We want to continue to provide them with great surpluses and money so they can keep recycling that and grow their company. Additionally, consumer markets in China and Vietnam, they're going to continue to buy, and they're getting bigger, I previously mentioned. Long-term employees, additional to go along with the social welfare part of it. OC Tanner, we believe our contract negotiations will provide them with well labor. They will apply well labor regulations. This is found on their website on the legal part of it. They apply by all legal parts, no child labor, all of that. Now we'll move on to the zone of opportunity. Zone of opportunity can be defined in several ways. And provided in the case, they gave us a definition that was a bit oddly worded. I interpreted it personally as they are okay, and the current zone of opportunity is we will continue to purchase from our suppliers that provide us at the current rate of cost to benefits. Now, our new rule, zone of opportunity, we agree, obviously we want to increase value. That's the point of using us as a 3PL. So we are going to continue to increase the value or the benefit of the products we're procuring, as well as decreasing the costs, which is great. So we're going to Kaizen, continuous improvement. It's huge. Now we'll move on to Beth. Beth is going to provide a conclusion for us.
So in summary, the main objective we want to provide for OC Tanner is lower cost for their products so they can contribute more value to their consumers. In addition, the strategy that we implemented is the China Plus One methodology with an emphasis in Vietnam. We wanted to do this so that we could receive a new consumer market as well as maintain our current market and maximize those cost-saving methods. In addition, the zone of opportunities we redefined as the opportunity to maximize the value available to our consumers. In conclusion, we would like to thank you all for your time, and in the spirit of OC Tanner, we would like to practice our own appreciatology and extend a token of our gratitude to each and every one of you. Thank you so much again.
Thank you. Thank you.
We would like to defer the rest of our time to questions.
Can you share with us your financial analysis?
So financial analysis was definitely a challenge on this. We tried really hard to find as much data as possible. However, numbers were a little sticky. So in the Excel sheet that was actually given to us, they only gave quotes for the US domestic supplier as well as China supplier. And when we ran the figures ourselves, they were actually off by 10%. And we were not sure whether this was a degree of safety. So were they doing this to underestimate, so we weren't going to plan to have 90,000 of profit savings and only reach 80,000? And so we were worried about that. And then when we went through and did analysis of Vietnam's expenses, we went back and referenced what their current expenses were for consumer products, as well as what China was at 10 years ago, because that is what the case referenced. We found Vietnam to be. And so we estimated, after our calculations rounding up, to be approximately at least a 50% savings by transferring to Vietnam.
Right, we did this through all products. All the annual demand was given to us in the in the Excel sheet given. So we did annual demand times unit price, and we found the summation of all the products, summed up made a bottom line, total procurement of the unit cost per domestic and China, and then as well as Vietnam. As discussed earlier, Vietnam, we used the ratio based off some of our research up to 10 years ago. So that's kind of how we found some of those findings. And then one more maybe.
One
more maybe.
One
2, 3.
question,
We're ready.
concern I have is, I think at some point you wanted to obviously expedite the learnings in Vietnam as you transfer.
Right.
And you said you'd have someone from China train the employees in Vietnam. And I would question if one competitor would go train the other competitor.
It is
Do
definitely.
we have an insider working for us? Or?
Well, keep in mind that China will always have our business with the MVU and the watch products, along with that is a good point, reason there's no competition, we're probably not going to help. We do have several staff members at OC Tanner that have experience traveling abroad, as mentioned in the case, and at the wonderful tour we had yesterday. I think Beth has some more details on it. but.
It's also definitely a concern. However, it is in their best interest because currently they are maintaining the shares, and if they are able to see the competition and go, this is what they have, we can improve our own system by taking this technology. So they're almost able to get an insider into the other company, and if China can prove that they're the worthy company and are willing to work hard and maybe help us with those expenses on wages and make it worth staying in China, it definitely be an option. And so that give them that insight, but also if we can produce a higher quality. So if you're buying a watch and you end up getting it from Vietnam and you get it from China and there's different quality in our product, it's going to be a reflection on our entire company and their supply. So how much business we're bringing to them will definitely decrease. And so it's in everybody's best interest to raise the entire company up, because if we don't succeed, they won't have business. And so it's kind of lots of hands make for light work and high success rates. But it is definitely a concern, and we need to get everyone on the same team.
Another concern, I love the fact that you're going to slowly transition, and I think you use some good sound reasoning to say, okay, about 40% seems reasonable, and 60 and 80 and whatever. So I think unless there's an absolute emergency, you would never switch overnight because of all the risks, right? So I love that. However, in that interim phase, I'm going to make up numbers, not even from the case, but if you have to buy 10,000 units from China of something, you got to work through the whole process, and you got to store that. And there's, I think the case said 12 or 24 to 25% carrying costs.
Right.
And now I have it in Vietnam. I got to order another 10,000. Now I'm holding 20,000. How do you work two supplies at the same time? Seems like you've added cost, labor, risk, shrink, all that.
Definitely an emphasis on gradual, so that would be assessed in small steps. So on a positive note, we're not going to be taking that problem all at once. We'll be only taking 40% of it.
But won't they have minimums, I guess is what I'm saying? I've got to commit to, that's
Yes,
one of the big
economies of
concerns. You
scales,
might
making sure.
stereotypically say, you can make one-offs or, a few in a batch here in the US or somewhere else, but in China you got to buy 10,000, ship them over. I would imagine you have something similar. Now you got 20,000 you got to deal with.
Yeah.
Right. There's a potential of taking advantage of a customs warehouse as well. Customs warehouse usually have low carrying costs, maybe something in between. They're not well industrialized in China in terms of customs warehouses, but some research we could definitely look into.
It's definitely an awesome question and a very important one. I think going back to the customs warehouse is a huge opportunity, but I think what you're trying to get at is how do we make sure that we are not overspending or paying for 2 shipping containers compared to 1 coming from China. And in the first couple phases, that will be a risk, but we think the risk will cover that expense. So high risk, high reward, low risk, low reward.
It's a good question.
Because it's temporary.
Yes,
For a
it's
time
really-
period, you may have to live in that world, but okay.
A little bit.
Right.
It is a problem of the system we've developed. However, we think the risk will be
Right.
worth it.
Eventually the reward. You have to take some risk to get a big
We
reward.
went through a lot of debate on, kind of exactly what you're saying, like, we don't want to go all for one in Vietnam. That's why we did choose this way and why we did implement our 3-year plan. Just not really for trial and error, but more for, let's get this slowly moving, and we can, whatever bumps on the road, we can fix. Eventually, so we're good. It'll be smooth sailing.
Any other questions?
You taking into account that slow moving will cost you price increases just based on volumes?
About lead time and on-time delivery. Just use-
Volumes. Just I'm buying 10,000 now and I'm going to buy 5,000 here and 4,000 there instead.
Right, so it might differ in
That's
transportation.
going to take it up on the
It is
volume side of
definitely-
things.
Right.
Definitely a concern. We do believe that the cheaper labor in Vietnam will help negate those costs and bring them a little closer. We will be having that high expense in China for their labor, as it is increasing 18% per year. However, we can decrease those to what the wage rates were in China 10 years ago. We all have heard the figure that Chinese make $1 a day. So if that's the now Vietnam trend, we can capitalize on that, hopefully,
Right.
and decrease some of those expenses, kind of doing a
Yeah.
staggering of, yes, our volume cost will be more expensive, but hopefully we'll help negate that cost by lowering our labor expense, and then in the future we'll be able to recoup that cost
Yeah.
and become equivalent.
But going along with that, we do understand that it will be LCL, less than container load initially, but we do plan to implement to eventually filling those containers to reduce some of those costs.
So I got a question. You keep saying Vietnam was China 10 years ago. Well, is that gonna, did you think about like, what's gonna happen in 10 years? I mean,
It will continually to increase the same way China has, according to predictions currently. However, if we can go back in time essentially to a lower expense rate, we'll be able to capitalize current technologies in Vietnam that are produced in first world
And low
countries
labor.
and maximize the profits being produced, the products, and the speed, the same way we did with China 10 years ago or any other developing nation.
So what's the projected labor increase in Vietnam?
I believe it was 7%.
Right now, they're making less than $1 an hour, but they got to be catching up to China. I mean, they see it. It's a good question. It's something we probably need to look into, but we're not ready to look at it for sure.
And then what's the ended shipping cost by shipping out of 2 ports as opposed to shipping out of 1 and then going with the LCL?
Well, the main emphasis on the ports were just Shenzhen and Tangao were very industrialized, and they've had a lot of success in the industry. We had 24 hours to prepare, so we didn't get too many details into that. But in terms of the port analysis and the cost of transporting, it was very much based on what's been done in the past and how have people been successful in doing similar ventures in the past. That's how we kind of chose our transportation route. We did consider traveling from Bongtao to Shenzhen, but just based on them both being industrialized and seeing the high amount of quantities going in and out of those ports based off some of the metrics we observed, we decided to just do it individually.
What's your geopolitical risk in Vietnam?
There's definitely some political risk too, as well as some infrastructure issues in terms of the roads. The way to avoid some of that infrastructure was we chose to put a lot of our manufacturing sites near the bay. So hopefully there will be a limited transportation from our manufacturing to the actual ports. So that's some of the risks that we have.
So what cities would you go into?
Well, as said earlier, I mean, the port in Vietnam is Bang Thao. I'm not familiar with other cities near the area. I do know that's a pretty urbanized area. It's a popular vacation destination. Yeah, I don't know any cities near it, but I know it's industrialized and they have similar manufacturers located in the area.
That's 10 minutes. Question?
Thank you so much for your time.
Yeah,
I
thank
really
you.
appreciate it.
That's great.